Oh God, I just started recording. Oh my goodness. All right, so we start with the preface. We start with the preface. And the preface starts with this: live life with passion and intentional gratitude. Live life with passion. Demetria, welcome. Live life with passion and intentional gratitude. Robert, you might want to go back out again. Go back out and come back in again. Oh, wait a minute now. Malas is on too. All right, let me bring my sister in. Let me bring my sister in. I need all my sisters here. All right, Malas, I just made you a co-host. But I'm not seeing you here. You might have to go out again. Malas, go out. I don't want to be. Oh, look at her. She doesn't want to. All right, Robert, you take the place of your wife here. Your wife is giving me a headache. All right. So live life with passion and intentional gratitude. Now, Maxine, what do you gather from that? Live life with passion and intentional gratitude. What do you gather from that? You're echoing. You need to do something with your stuff there. So the reason why I wrote that, the reason why I wrote live life with passion and intentional gratitude is that a lot of times, a lot of things happen in our lives and we get very, very busy. We get extremely busy, or perhaps something that unexpectedly happened in our lives. For example, with my situation, about 6 days ago, I lost my brother and I also lost my sister-in-law. That was something that was not expected. We were all expecting him to get on the plane and come aboard, right? But we never, not in our wildest dream, did we ever think that anything could ever happen where we have well, Robert, something is going on with yours. For some reason, I cannot see your image. I can't see your image. And so a lot of times in our lives, something happens to come in the way between us and destiny, between us and promises, between us and the things that we're called to do. And so a lot of times I look at the situation with myself and my brother. If I was not in God, what I would easily say was, God, why did that happen? How did you let that happen? Where were you when all this happened? After all, I was always praying. And to even make the matters worse, that whole week, if anybody was on my scope that whole week, I was talking about how we needed to cover our family. In fact, the day that he actually died, I was saying on my scope that, do you know that there are some people who are being resuscitated, who were in an accident and were being resuscitated right now, and they will not wake up. Can you imagine you saying that? And then you turn around at 4 a.m., they call you and tell you that same thing that you said on scope happened. Within the 24 hours, it happened in your family. That's what happened to me. And so when you get situations like that, there are times you just want to be human. You don't want to feel like being gratitude. And for me, when situations like that happen to other people, I'm always very careful how to say, oh, God give it, God take it, and all this kind of crazy stuff that people say. And there are times you are in that moment where you just don't want to be grateful. You really don't feel like being grateful at all. I don't know if any of you have felt that before. You just don't feel like being grateful. You don't feel like it at all, right? And so for me to be grateful, right, has to be intentional.
Can you hear me?
Right, Baxin?
Okay.
To be grateful. Yeah, I can hear you. To be grateful, what do you have to say?
I know exactly how you feel. When my son was born, it's a lot of things that went on that I didn't feel grateful about, but I still had to get up every morning and pray and be grateful that he was here. So I do understand what you're talking about.
Can you tell people the story about your son?
Well, my son was born in 26 weeks. He was a premature baby. He was in the hospital for 4 months after he was born. He had cerebral palsy, so it was hard and difficult to live with all the the things that I had to do to get my son to the next stage in his life. So that was a part, and that was a hardship. And through these 20 years, it's been hard, I would say almost every year. But I have to show gratitude to God for my son and for everything he's done for me and my family.
So how do you keep that spirit going? How do you keep the spirit of gratitude going?
Constant prayer,
how do you keep it going?
Speaking to my children and my husband that I love them daily. I constantly talk to my youngest son about being grateful and having gratitude. And sometimes he'll get in the spoiled brat attitude, and then I'll talk to him very calmly and say a couple of things to him, and then he'll show gratitude as well. So just teaching other people how to show gratitude as well if you're being grateful.
I think in my own situation, if I look at my brother's situation, I think the way that I show my gratitude is constantly coming on the scope and talking to people about legacy. The more I get strength in speaking to people about my brother. I was just sharing that it was 3 days. For the first time, 3 days was when I finally broke down. When I lay down in bed, when it first happened, I was just on the go. It was like, the enemy, you're not going to change my story. I'm sorry, you're not going to use this to change my story.
Right.
Because I know that regardless of God, God is still God. He is God. He is God all by himself. And I cannot question what happened. But this much I know too. I also know that God does just not allow things like that to happen. Particularly even when you go in the Bible, when you see the ages that we're supposed to live, when somebody dies like that, we cannot just ascribe everything to God. We also have to understand that there are some principalities and powers that is enabling, that is stopping, that is looking to stop people's destiny. And so I look at it this way. 2016, many of us are excited about 2016 because this is a leap year. This is a year that God has called us to jump. This is a year that God has called us to leap into our destiny. But we also have to understand that just as excited as we are, that's when the enemy too is like, that jump, I'm going to make sure you do not do that jump. I'm going to take your gratitude. I'm going to take your passion. I'm going to steal your vision. I'm going to steal your dream. So for us, we have to understand that even right now, because we're excited about our future, doesn't mean that the enemy is excited. Are you hearing me, people? It doesn't mean in fact, the more excited you are, the more he's like, dang, you really think you want to do this? All right, let's get this show on the road. And so the enemy is going to keep you and do everything to disturb you. He's going, if he doesn't get you through your wife, he will get through to your husband. If he doesn't get you through your son, he will skip to your son or your daughter. If that doesn't work, he will go to the extended. That's why this year we need to really focus on even praying for our extended. As you walk into your destiny this year, you want to cover all the bases and make sure that the enemy doesn't rear his stupid head. It doesn't rob you of your gratitude. And one of the ways we can do it is intentional gratitude. Waking up every morning and telling the Father how we love him. Waking up every morning and reminding him of his goodness.
I think that is totally true. Sometimes I don't do it, but I have to stay constantly reminded when my feet, even though my feet and leg, everything may be hurting on my body, from working out the day before. Every morning when I get up, when I put one foot on the ground, I need to say thank. When I put the other foot on the ground, I need to say thank you. Thank you. When my feet hit the floor, that's showing gratitude to me.
That's right. That's right. That's right. And do you also know too, though, that every time that you get up and you put your feet to the ground, the enemy is like, she's up again. That troublemaker is up again. And so when you know that about yourself, you cannot be casual about your waking up, can you? Where you know, because many of us, we get so busy and we just run. We get off the bed and we run out and run out. But when you understand that every time, because you're a child of the King, every time you get up and you put your feet to the floor, the enemy is like, wow, he should just wake up. That's not the plan. And so that's supposed to actually empower you to understand that you do not rush, regardless of how late you are, you do not rush out of your home any kind of way. Right, Maxine? Maxine, I think you're frozen. You might want to, you're frozen. Let's wait. Okay, so one of the things that I also wanted to talk about was the prefix. It says, what is the #1 complaint and frustration experienced by working people today? Now, that's a good topic. That's a very good topic for me. One that I can actually talk about. Maxine, you're frozen. You might want to go out and come back in again so I can bring you in. I want you to chime in on this. Let's see if I can get Maxine to come back in again. And so I did a lot of research on this, right? I did a lot of research on this. And one of the things that I found out was that I went into the Gallup poll. And in the Gallup poll, it shows that at least, let's see now. Wait a minute. Who do I have here? Oh my God. I have you here. Well, I have Marla's here. In the name of Jesus. Hallelujah. All of us are on scarf. All of us are on scarf. Isn't that funny? And so, you know what? I give you props for coming. Let me give you props here. And so one of the things that I found out was that in the poll, 70% of Americans hate their jobs, people. 70% of Americans hate their job. And so I said to myself, that's just America. Perhaps I can go outside of America, and perhaps I can go into the whole world. And so I moved into whole world. And in the whole world, they said 80% of the whole world hate their jobs. I mean, that you're here. Naya, yeah, welcome, my darling. Welcome. And it's like, oh my God, 80% in the whole world hate their job. For some reason, your husband is not showing. He's on here, but his screen is not showing. Yeah, he's in, but his screen is not showing. And so I looked at it and I said, wow, if 80% of the whole world, hey, on, thank you. Now we can have the male voice. So it's like, okay, if 80%.
Mine is off. It's
off. Robert, you have to fix your, okay. So I'm thinking if 80% hate their job all over the world.
I can't see nobody else.
Hey, Naya's daughter, hello. Hey, my
they see me.
Hey.
Well, I mean,
hello,
I can see
my
you.
team. Naya, welcome. Dear Scott, welcome.
They see, see Maxine. They see me.
All right. Can you hear me?
Okay, I have to go because the laptops are, the sound is going to be all messed up. Can you see him?
Okay. So, but is your husband okay though?
Can you see them?
No.
Okay, I'm going to have him come and sit over here.
Can he see us? That's the question.
Turn yours off.
Okay. Exactly. And you're going to stay there too. All right. So, we're thinking if 80% in the whole world hate their jobs, that is messed up, isn't it, Maxine? Isn't it messed up?
It is something.
Maxine, yeah, isn't it something? If 80% in the whole world hate their job, that is just horrible. And so that was one of the conclusions that I came up with. And then in one of the things, I talked about how you did not find your calling, but your calling found you and then compels you on a daily basis to live it out. So many of us are out there. Oh, we see him. Okay, good. They see you, Robert. Many of us are out there looking for our true calling. We're out there looking for, the church folk call it true calling. The world folk call it passion, and the people in the middle call it life purpose. And so We are all out there looking for something that is already innate in us. Can somebody chime in on that? Robert, do you want to chime in on that? Be the male figure here.
First part of the question.
Okay, so we're talking about how the poll that I did, right? We found out that 70% of Americans hate their jobs, right? Then 80% of the whole world, 80% of the whole world, Nkechi, welcome, hate their jobs. 80% of the whole world. And so I said, you did not find your calling, but your calling found you, then compels you on a daily basis to live it out. And I mentioned the fact that many of us out there were so disgruntled because we keep looking for something. We keep trying to find our, the church folks say they're finding their true calling. The world say they're finding their passion. And the one in the middle are saying their life purpose. And so what do you have to say where that is concerned? I personally believe that what we're looking for is inside of us, right? Beam, welcome from Douglas, welcome. Hello, my darling Nkechi, welcome. What do you have to say? You're the male voice here.
Absolutely, definitely, I agree with that. What's the key to our success, at least on God's path for us, is what's inside of us, because He's already put it inside of us. And so many of us spend so much time, and I know even myself have spent so many years looking outside trying to find it, and it was already there. And once I realized that, once I got that epiphany, it's like the light came on. I said, oh, I've been going in the wrong direction. I've been working this thing the wrong way. So we're ready to get back on path and do things the right way.
I hope I'm not going to be echoing.
Maxine, do you have anything
echoing
to
again.
add to this?
Hold on.
All right, so I want to say something that Dotun added here, which is very interesting. Dotun said, isn't that ironic that people continue to look for what they hate just for the sake of security of, of a paycheck? Brother, can you see me? Yes, that's it. We are looking for security. And there's no security in what we're doing on a daily basis, people. Oh my goodness. Dotun, thank you for saying that, because I'm telling you, when we are on a 9-to-5 route, that rat race, what I call the rat race, we're saying that we want security. That's why we're holding on to it. I was telling one of my mentees something. I said, let me tell you something. For the last 10 years, you've been trying to get off your job. For the last 10 years, you've been trying to write a book. For the last 10 years, you've been trying to be what God has called you to be. And every year you tell yourself this is the year, right? But then you say, okay, I just need to save a little bit more. But then as you're saving,
yes,
life happens. And life happens. And then the things that you did not plan for, take the little thing that you have left. And if IRS doesn't take the rest, your rent will take the rest. A child that is suddenly sick will take the rest. And God help you if you're an African, somebody back home will take the rest. And at the end of the day, you are 10 years into it. And just like Dr. said, isn't that ironic that people continue to look for what they hate,
right,
just for the sake of security of a paycheck?
And the unfortunate thing, Princess, is that even with the paycheck, our paycheck is only as secure as the person who makes the decision to go ahead and sign our check again next week. So,
say that again. Say that. I love that.
Our paychecks are only as secure as the person who decides to continue to sign our paycheck next week.
That's right. And Saucer, thank you so much for your comment. You said your calling nurtures the flow of happiness. Thank you, my darling. Isn't that something? Our paycheck is as secure as the person that writes the paycheck. Today they might tell you you're doing a great job. Tomorrow you might come in and, well, I have, me, Princess in Suburbia, I always have a story. Let me tell you a story. So back in them days, how you call it here, them days in the 80s, I used to work on Wall Street, right? Them days, I used to work on Wall Street. I want you all to listen to this, all right? So I'm working on Wall Street, having a blast. I mean, they have me train all these people. I was on trading floor. I was just having a blast. So it was my birthday. They brought this big cake and celebrated my birthday. Oh my God, I was just incredibly happy. So they called all the departments. They came and ate the cake. They wrapped the rest for me, gave it to me. I was so, just excited. Went from department to department, thanking everybody for showing up on my birthday. It was a Friday. When it was 5 p.m., my boss calls me in. He calls me in and said to me, "Oh, you are such a blessing to us. You have just, look at the people that you've trained." So I look at Wallace here. So I'm sitting there saying, "Oh, thank you so much for the cake. Thank you." We said, "Yeah, but we just want to, sadly, this is your last day." Are you hearing me? They said that was my last day, people. And I had to look and say, what was that cake all about? Was that my send-off or my birthday? I'm telling you, that was the shock of my life. It was the shock of my life, because here you are, people are celebrating you, saying happy birthday, thank you, and then they were watching the time to make sure I don't dash out before 5 o'clock. And as soon as it was like 5 o'clock, my boss calls me in and says, "Sorry." And I said, "Well, what happened? Did I do something wrong?" "Oh no, we just cut him back." And I'm like, "You cut him back and you try to tell me now?" And you know what was sad about it was that I had made them a lot of money that month. So I didn't even know what the cutback was about. So this is what we have to face when we do not want to jump. This is what we have to face when we do not plan exit strategy for our lives. Many of us, I see Mala shaking her head over there, and the two of you talk us about exit strategy, because you guys are my mentees. Talk to us about exit strategy.
Exit strategy. Okay, so when we met with you, actually just last week, we had our first mentoring session with you, and that was the thing that we mapped out as our exit strategy. And just sitting in that meeting, we realized how important it is to know what the plan is for the future, how quickly you can achieve it. And that's something that you helped us see, is how quickly we can achieve the exit strategy. But that's the thing. People need to have a goal to work towards. Just being at work and saying, one day I'm going to quit this job, one day I'm going to do my own thing. When does one day come? When is it coming? You have to have a strategy for it. So make a plan, write it down, follow the plan, right?
So let me work on you guys, Robert and Malas, for a second. Before the exit strategy, because you and I were talking, we were both talking about how everything was overwhelming before that. What was the difference between when you were saying, "I want to quit my job, I want to quit my job," but you don't know how, versus now that you're really seeing your exit strategy in front of you? What difference did that make to your own morale?
It put me on cloud 9. Seriously, because before I was the person at work saying, "Okay, well, one day I'm going to quit this job. One day I'm going to do my own thing." I've been working for 30 years now. When has the one day come? But I've been saying it since I started working. So now I actually see, okay, it can really happen, and it can happen this year. It can happen this year. So that made the difference for me. It put me on cloud 9.
That's right. So that's what we're talking about here. When on page 3, I talked about, if no one will open the door for you, make the decision to break the doors down or create your own door and work it diligently on a consistent basis. Are you all hearing me? If you have questions for us there, please throw it out so that we can answer the questions. If no one will open the door for you, make the decision, which means you have to make the decision, nobody else. I'm not going to make it for you. Your mother is not going to make it for you. Your brother is not going to make it for you. Your boss is not going to make it for you. Your boss can be harassing you for years, kingdom come. If you don't make the decision to say enough is enough, the harassment will continue. It will continue. So we have to make the decision to break the doors down or create our own door. And when you create your own door, we're talking about your own branding and work it diligently on a consistent basis. Are you all hearing me? That's a perfect example of what Marlus and Robert are working through now. A lot of us are on the job. I always say to people, I say, look, I can come back next year. You'll still be on that job. Your rent, you're still going to pay the rent. How long should you give yourself to exit? Oh, wow. Okay, we're going to go to that. So your rent is still going to be there. Kroger that you attend is still going to be there. You still have to eat. You still have to do all these things. You still have to pay your bills. So you saying, oh, next year I'm going to be that, it's never going to happen until you create an exit strategy, people. Now, Dimitri asked a question. How long should you give yourself to exit? I was thinking March, but I think it is too soon now. Now, here's the thing, Dimitri. This is where mentorship comes in. All right? Because with mentorship, there are certain steps that you have to follow before you get to that point. Right, Marlus? There are certain things, because we met the first time, and the first time when we met, we assessed the whole thing, right? We came up with your legacy statement, right? And once we came up with your legacy statement, we had to debunk some thinking, some stinking thinking, right? Right, Robert? We had to debunk some, you know, we had to pull some things off of my brother. We have to take his hand and really take something off. All right. So for you, Dimitri, it is essential that when you have a mentor, the mentor will help you to formulate your exit strategy, because that's not the first thing you do. The first thing you do, there are so many steps you have to follow. One of the first one is creating your own legacy, statement. Once you create that, then we want to see what are the assets you have now. What do you have? What is the asset you have? What don't you have? What do you need to move to make that jump? Are you hearing me, Dimitri? You need all those steps. Once you figure that out, then the second session or the third session will now be, let's map it out. And trust me, when we did that exit strategy, it included a cash flow, didn't it? Yeah. It did include a cash flow. And when you guys, right? How did you feel when you saw your cash flow? How did you feel when you saw that cash flow?
First of all, found out that I had money way too low on the totem pole as a priority. Seeing that cash flow that actually is going to be coming in, it just solidified everything, and I was definitely on cloud nine too. I mean, really happy.
And then it also shows you that you really don't need as much as you thought in your head that you did. Get off your job, right? It showed you that you did not even need as much as you thought. So for you, Dimitri, there's a lot of steps. Number one, define your legacy statement. Number two, find out what your assets are. When I talk about assets, I'm not talking about I'm not talking if you own a big house. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the things that will forward you, will make you go forward in what you want to do. But everything is hinging upon you getting exactly what you need to do, what the things that you want to do. Once you clarify that, then the next step now will be your cash flow. And then your cash flow, it has to be very meticulous too. Once we do that cash flow, then you walk your way backwards. And I'm telling you, Marlus, when are you getting off your job this year? June, okay? Yes. June 30th, right? 30th.
November 30th.
Robert, when are you getting off? Okay. See how it rolled out of their mouth like that? That's right.
What I said.
I put my husband as an asset. like, well, praise the Lord. Well, you know what? Look at Naya. Naya said, I was forced out. Okay, so, okay, all right. I'm going to let Maxine talk to you about that.
I was forced out of my job as well.
Naya said
so
she was forced out.
Where
what
you're
do you have
coming
to say?
from, Naya, because my job went away. They closed my department, and they didn't have any other jobs for me to do. So I was forced out, and what happened in that process, and with me joining the Southern Warrior Sisters, I came to the realization that I was going through an identity crisis. So when I was going through an identity crisis, I talked to my sisters. We had shows, so that helped me.
That's right. Say that again. Say that again. Say that again.
An identity crisis, because I had been a supervisor in corporate America for over 10 years, and I was about to go to that next level, and then everything just fell out the bottom. All of a sudden, I was like, wow, so what do I do now? So after I, was with the Southern Warrior Sisters, I started getting back into the things that I love, things I did as a hobby. So I'm making that as a career going forward. My career now is jewelry designer.
That's right.
Hopefully, I'm going to expand to different designs. I've been working on this. And when you say work on something constantly, I've been working since yesterday. I spent about 5 hours just looking at beads.
That's right.
I mean, but I did that yesterday. Today, I went on the web and I started to create my websites. So I've been working on it every day.
Do you want to? Can you give people a
yes? And the other websites are coming soon. I mean, they may even come tomorrow, or this weekend. I'm going to give my date as an end date of Monday. All my websites are going to be up and running. But the one you can go to that you can look at some of the jewelry and purchase the jewelry, because proceeds of the sales of this jewelry goes toward the Southern Warrior Sisters, Princess in Suburbia, under her umbrella. And it also goes to my nonprofit called Johnny's Project. You'll be able to go to Maxi D Designs on Etsy.com/shops/Maxi MAXIDDESIGNS Maxi D Designs.
Cool. Awesome. Now I see Naya here say, I love computers and technology, and I have some unique ideas on what I want
Naya,
to do with
that.
Are you
in classes?
You want to say something, Maxine?
Are you going to get your, if you want to do something with Microsoft, definitely go and get education on that. Those are some courses to get certified with computers and technology that are very easy and very quick to take, because I did that in my previous life as well. You need N+, A+, some other things you would definitely need if you want to go into computers and technology. But definitely, like Princess Fumi has told me, and we all agree on this, education is the key to anything.
Oh, awesome. So she is an IT major now. I tell you what, let me tell you something, Naya. To make things clear for you, you still need an exit strategy. Do you believe that? I'm telling you, everybody needs that. Even when you start a business, you need an exit strategy for your business. So I don't want you to think, oh, okay, my life is coming off of a job in June. Even you, yes, you were laid off, but part of what you also plan to and work on is an exit strategy. Everything we do in life, you need an exit strategy for it. Well, I'm telling you, even if you have children that are in nursery school and they're moving into grade school, you need an exit strategy to prepare yourself to move from nursery to grade school. If they're in high school going all the way to college, you better have an exit strategy. Otherwise, these kids are going to stomp you. So, yes, you need an exit strategy. And so for you, I think you are in a position now that you really do need a mentor, so that you don't start going into different areas and getting yourself, because the area of IT, even I myself, I have an associate in IT, and with IT is very, you have to be very, I don't know, you need to really know your niche. All right. You can't spread yourself out because there's so many. I mean, it's so vast, it's so wide that there's a lot of part that you have to do, but you need to know your niche. You can't be everything to everybody. Otherwise, you can do a certification in this. Before you're done with that, that certification is obsolete. And then now you have to go and do another certification. So starting with your legacy statement, which is like your exit strategy at the end of the life. That's right. That's right. That's right. Because I'm telling you, when you write your legacy statement, it actually points you to your true calling. Many people don't know that. So that if those two don't face each other, then there's a problem somewhere. On my scope earlier today, I gave an example of my own life. I said I would like to be used as what? I would like to be known as your vision midwife, right? That's me. What do I do? Who do I assist? Fearless visionaries and mountain movers. And what do I help them to do? To deliver their own legacies. All right. So your legacy statement have to have a picture in the front, a picture at the end. Then it also has to have a beginning, a middle, and an end. And it should not be more than one sentence. If it's more than one sentence, tops 2 sentences, but I will go with just one sentence because you want something that you can just go boom. If anybody asks you, and that should actually be your mission statement, right? Once you know it as your legacy statement, it actually becomes your mission statement. And so when you are out there doing all these things and everything is coming at you, and you know that you have digressed, you can always go back to your legacy statement. When you see that legacy statement, it will realign you straight back to what you need to be doing. A lot of times when you write business plan, many of us don't even go back to the business plan. We write it, we put it and tuck it away for something. But when you have your legacy statement, for me now, is actually with the death of my brother, it's actually clarified it for me. I'm a lot clearer now than I was before. And now I really know, and I know, and it's able, I tell you, since his death, I've been able to cinch everything to just one sentence. I'm your vision midwife who does what? Who assists who? Fearless visionaries and mountain movers to do what? Deliver their own legacies. And so that's the way you have to, yes, Oyenkechi, that's the way you have to look at your own. If you want to be an author, you are not just an author. What are your books going to do to people? What help is it going to do? So number one, you are who? You are who? You start with that. Naya said she is purpose. I am purpose. So you start with that. I am purpose. Okay. What do? You assist who? I am purpose who assists bam, 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 to do what? Bam, 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 bam. You understand that, Naya? So you are purpose who, what is your legacy? Yes, what is your legacy? What is your legacy statement? Naya, you understand that? I am purpose. What do you do, purpose? Who assists who? Da, 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 da. So I am purpose who assists senior citizens, bam, to what? To live freely or something. And that's just an example, to live freely or something like that. So for me, I am your vision midwife, right? Who assist fearless visionaries and mountain movers to do what? To deliver their own legacies. What do you want to be remembered for? That's right. A legacy is what you want to be remembered for. A legacy is what you leave behind. And many times people are always thinking it all just has to do with our family. But no, it transcends beyond your family. It goes to the world. When you die, when you close your eyes, what do you want the world to know you for? What do you want to be known for? And what you want to be known for is your true calling. Nothing else. I mean, what you really want to be known for is your true calling. So that's why I constantly say that rather than us get ourselves all confused about, I don't know what my purpose is, I don't know what my true calling is, just sit down and write yourself a very nice one legacy statement. Naya says your legacy should be tied to your identity. It is tied to your identity. And your identity is tied to your true calling. So a lot of times when our identity does not match what we're doing, then we start going all over the place. When our identity is disaligned with our true calling, then where, you know, it's either we go this way, we go south, and our calling go go to the north. So your identity, and you're just like what Maxine said, when she was laid off, she found out, she figured she had an identity crisis. And many of us, our lives are so attached to our jobs. We're so attached to everything that when that thing goes away, then people start drinking. If they don't have God in their life, they start drinking. They start doing all kind of crazy stuff. Look at Michael Jordan. When you think of him, you think about basketball, right? Yeah, but Michael Jordan is known for more than basketball, though. All right? Basketball is just what he did. It was just a tool to his destiny. But he used basketball as a tool. Myself, I'm using speaking to you guys. I'm using speaking, I'm using books, I'm using films to do what? To help to birth legacies. So Michael Jordan is doing something. There's something about his life that he's doing that basketball is an avenue where he's able to express his true legacy. All right? So when you talk about books, when you talk about medium, any kind of medium that you're doing, that is just a medium to get to what, to show people your true legacy. But it's not your legacy. Basketball is not your legacy. My books are not my legacy. You know, your jewelry is not your legacy. Your ministry is not your legacy. But what you do with that ministry, what you do with your jewelry, what I do with my books and film is my legacy. Jackie Robinson, the same thing. The same thing. Do you understand? If you were to go on and Google, if you were to go and Google Michael Jordan, and you will hear what he talks about. When he talks, it's not so much about the basketball, really. He talks about the impact he's making in the lives of young children that wants to play basketball, the impact he's making in other lives more. So the basketball just helps him to make that happen. Likewise, my books, my movies, all these things help me. Radio show, they help me to make that my legacy come to life. Your non-profit Maxine, you know, with John's project and your jewelry is going to help you to bring out that legacy in a big way. Dotun, what you do with your business right now is going to help you to bring out your legacy. Nkechi, I mean, everybody on right now that is listening to me, whatever you're doing is just a medium. It's not who you are. It's just a medium that is supposed to help you. So if you look at what you're doing right now, if it's not pointing to your legacy, let me be the first one to tell you, you're in the wrong lane. If what you're doing is not pointing to the legacy statement that you've written, then you need to start figuring how to hop out and hop on the lane where your destiny is. And that's what is making many of us stick to all these jobs that we're doing. We're holding on to this job. And the bottom line is the job don't even pay that much. The bottom line is that it don't even pay all your bills. And so, and then the next year, what makes you think it's going to still pay all your bills? If it's not paying all the bills this year, what makes you think it's going to pay the bills next year? Granted, you might be promoted next year, but guess what? With great promotion comes great responsibilities, comes great, great expenses. I mean, your expenses doesn't stay like this because you got promoted like this. As your promotion goes up, your expenses follow too. Even if you don't mean it, it just follows. Yes, God deliver from JOB, just over broke. That's right. That's right. That's right, Dotun. God deliver us from JOB, just over broke. That's it. And so my whole idea of writing this book is to empower you, to encourage you that I'm telling you right now, there is victory in not being afraid to do what God has called us to do. Regardless of what anyone says to you, You have to be ready for change. Oh my God, I didn't even realize I was there. Okay. Regardless of what anyone says to you, you have to be ready for change. No one can and will make the change you desperately desire in your life. Only you can. Only you can. And unless you jump, you never know how high you jump. You can jump, would you? If you have great headaches, that's right. That's right. I'm telling you, many of us are on jobs right now that when the time it comes to write the check, we have all these migraines just, clashing. And can you imagine you having migraines every month because you have to write, checks? I can imagine it. It's like when I pick up that check and I pick up that pen, it's like, can somebody please deliver me? Because I do not want to write this check, but I have to write it. And so that's what we're looking at. But I'm telling you right now, if you make this year, this is the leap year, a year that God has called us all to jump. And you don't want to miss it, people. You really don't want to miss it, because I don't know when next leap year is coming again. I don't know. But I certainly want to use this year, to do my jumping, because when I count my age now, I don't think I have any more time to waste. I don't have any more 30 years to come around and say, by then I'll be in my late with my little stick and trying to say I want to jump. I want to jump, run, fly, that's right. Do what you have to do. And so this is our time to jump. So regardless of what anyone says to you, you have to be ready for change. We have to be ready. Ladies and gentlemen, be ready for change. Not just be ready, be the change, people. Forget the ready in front of it. Now, 2015 is be ready for change. That, you know what? 2016 is be the change. Yeah. Can we just agree to that? 2015 was be ready for change. 2016 is be the change. No more be ready. We don't have there's no ready in front of it anymore. Now you be that change. So regardless of what you want to do, you have to have an exit strategy, ladies and gentlemen. Have an exit strategy for your life. I'm telling you, you write that exit strategy, things will look so brilliantly easier. Because if you put everything in your head, you're thinking about, all my credit card. How am I going to pay all my credit card? How am I going to do all this? How am I going to pay the house? How am I going to do this? But when you write the exit strategy and you see it and you put it in your front, I'm telling you, it's easier. It's a lot easier. Be the change you want to be in the world. That's right. Great minds think alike. Well, Naya and Nkechi, yes, we are great minds here. All right. Do you all have questions? Please, let's have your questions. Don't bend. Don't water it down. Don't try to make it logical. Don't edit your own soul according to your fashion. Are you hearing me? Don't bend it. Don't water it down. Don't try to make it logical. Don't edit your own soul according to the fashion of other people.
Yes.
Are you hearing me? So it is time, folks, that we jump. It is time that we do what we need to do so that we can be all what God has called us to be. I want to, that chapter ends with a story of the wealthy man with a simple solution. Several years ago, I think it's almost 20 years ago now, over 20 years ago, I had an opportunity to meet a very, very, I'm talking about extremely wealthy man, an incredibly wealthy man. And I said to him, I was so excited because I wanted to interview him. I said, I got my wealthy man now. Let me find out what made this man wealthy. And what was good about this man was that he was not just wealthy money-wise, but his family was healthy. The way that he handled his wife, the way that he handled his children, it was just an all-around guy. And I said to myself, well, this is the best time to I don't know if I'm ever going to meet somebody as wealthy as that again. Let me interview this person. So I sat in front of this person. I've been waiting for a whole week, and I finally got to sit with him. And I turned on my thing, and I said, well, so what is the secret to your success? The man looked at me and said, never, never get desperate. So I'm looking at him like, no, seriously, what is the secret to your success? He said, my dear daughter, never, never, never get desperate. So I left that place like a little bit disappointed, because I was like, here I was for a whole week. I couldn't even sleep. I got all my mic ready, everything geared up, ready for maybe an hour session with this man. And he looks at me and he said, never get desperate. So I left the place thinking, what in the world did he mean with never get desperate? But you know what? I left that place disappointed, right? But 10 years later, when I started spinning, like with the divorce and all these things coming up, then I remember what he said. And I said, oh my God. Because when you are not desperate, your mind is at rest. You are peaceful. And when you're in a state of peace, you can actually come up with solutions. And I never understood that until I started going through my own issues. And I'm telling you, that was a big nugget that I missed. 20 years later, that was a big nugget that I missed. Do you know that 10 years later, I saw the man again? And he said to me, what have you been doing with yourself? And sadly, I had not been doing that much, because I've been doing what I thought I was supposed to be doing. And I've been failing miserable at late. I've just been failing at all the businesses. I've just been like, just failing. And so I saw the man, and the man said to me, what have you been doing? I said, well, I've just been doing a little here, a little there. He said, aha. I said, what did you say, aha? He said, well, never, never get desperate. 10 years later, the man comes back again and said, never, never get desperate. And I walked back and I said, oh. And then I looked back at my first business. I was quite desperate when I started that business, because I wanted to get out of my job. I needed to get out. So I was just in that desperate mode, but I didn't have an exit strategy. So I was desperate. The second one that failed, yes, I was desperate because I was looking at the whole thing. I was desperate because I was going through my divorce and I needed cash. So I was desperate. And so I looked at the whole thing. I was like, oh my God, this man gave me a nugget and I ignored it. And for the first time, it became Rhema in my own spirit. So I said that to you. I shared that with you all on with me today, that regardless of what you're doing, let's take desperation off of it first. Let's remove desperation. Understand that you are in the season and the time that God is going to bless you. So there's no need for desperation right now, because we are in the atmosphere. If you are following God and doing what you need to do, and you are not walking in disobedience, you are in the best times. So let's take desperation off of it. You should not be desperate. Even if you've been laid off of a job, do not be desperate, because being laid off of your job is probably a way to now steer you in the right direction, folks. So do not ever get desperate, because I'm telling you, when you're desperate, things do not happen in desperation. The right things do not happen. Things happen, but the right things do not happen in desperation. And then the second story that I wanted to talk about, which I end the chapter with, is my own story about the girl who cried wolf. And the girl who cried wolf was me, because at the age of 9, I went to boarding school, right? And so when I was in boarding school at the age of 9, I think I was about 10 or 11, everybody was going home. And I wanted to go home. But my parents lived like probably 700 miles away or over that. And so for me, I had to stay in the boarding school. But because I was desperate, as usual, I wanted my parents to come and pick me up. So I sent word home and told them that I was sick. And I was not sick. I was not sick at all. But I told them that I was sick. But I told them that I was deadly and deathly sick, and that they needed to come and pick me up and take me home. Well, there was nothing wrong with me that morning when I wrote that letter. Do you know that by 6:30 that night, I was in bed shivering? Okay, I was shivering. By the next morning, By the next morning, my bed sheet had turned green. I ended up with hay fever, yellow fever. Are you hearing me, people? And when I wrote that letter, there was absolutely nothing wrong with me. But by the time my parents did arrive, they had to carry me like that into the car. And by the time I got home, I slipped into coma for 6 months. Are you hearing me? I slipped into coma for 6 months. This was when I was little now. And because of that, because I was in coma for 6 months, I skipped 2 sessions in school. By the time I woke up, my whole body was swollen, everything was swollen. And since then, by then I was 11 years old, I promised myself I will never use my mouth to speak evil on myself again. So now when anybody says, go say this, I'm always like, like, you know, like when you say, oh, your mother is sick, your father is sick, I don't do that. I don't play that. Since then, where am I going with this story? The reason why I'm saying this to you is that we have to be careful because the atmosphere is charged. Yes, wow, people, yes. Because the atmosphere is charged for us to get what we speak. Are you hearing me? We are going to get what we speak. We are going to get what we work at. And because the atmosphere is charged for that, the atmosphere will agree with you, whatever you say. So if you say that I am going to, that's right, death and life is in the power of the tongue. So if you say that I'm going to prosper, the atmosphere has already agreed with you right now because we are in that season. We are in the season that many of us have prayed for forever. This is the season. And so because of that, while you're getting excited that, oh my God, we're in the season to make money, we're in the season to make wealth, yes, you are also in the season to get exactly what you speak. So be very, very careful what you say. Be extremely careful what you say. All right, so I end the chapter with this. The syndrome of thinking the world owes us anything is quickly becoming the order of the day. Get over yourself. Nobody owes us anything, right? Nobody owes us anything. So if you have a little brother somewhere that's very wealthy and is not throwing some dollars your way, just let him be. Nobody owes us anything. All right? So get over yourself. You're going to move and move in the way God wants you to move. Get over yourself. Not only that, those who fail to be mentored, those who place disobedience, arrogance, pride, and backbiting against their helpers at the seat of their soul are only heaping coals of fire and rains of failure on themselves. So be careful what you say of your mentors or anybody. Yes, they are humans like you, and yes, they are not close to being perfect, but they have been assigned to you for this season. So if you do not have a mentor, I urge you, do not waste your time trying to develop things your way. I did that for 30 years. And at the end of 30 years, I still have to come back and find myself a mentor. You don't have the 30 years. Maybe you have it, but I sure don't have another 30 years to start wasting time anymore. So because of that, I found myself a mentor. So for you, you can start by actually reading some of these books. Read the book. Read this. You know, this is a daily nugget. Thank God that Dupe Aleru now use this on a daily basis on her show. All right. Look at Maxine. And look at this. This is a success blueprint. This is a journal. Enjoy it. Buy yourself one. Enjoy it. Soak yourself in it. I'm telling you, the journal are not like any other journal. You will, even the book will make you work. Look at Maxine. Maxine, put yours up again. Put yours up. Look at, you see Maxine? You see all the pink things? When Maxine came to my home last week and I saw those pink things, I'm like, wow, dang, sister, you're eating up this book, ain't you? She has all these things in it. See, that's evident that she's getting something out of it. Don't waste your energy not getting. First read. read something, get used to, read something, find yourself a mentor. I don't have to be your mentor. If you feel that I'm your mentor, then reach out to me and let's get this thing going. But time waits for nobody. We are January 7th now, people. Ladies and gentlemen, by the time we're done with next week, guess what? We're going to be doing Happy February very soon, right? And so you need to take action. You need to take action. My books are on Amazon, by the way. My books are on Amazon. Just Google Fumi Hancock and you'll find the books there. All right. You need to take action. If you're looking for mentorship, I also have some ebooks that are coming out very, very soon. I'm excited about them, e-courses. All right. And so you can go to the Princess of Suburbia. The Princess, I don't know. Can somebody write that for me? The Princess of Suburbia.com/mentoring programs. The Princess of Suburbia.com/mentoring programs. Wait a minute, what did just got a message that my phone is extremely okay. All right. Okay. All right. So, thank you. Wait a minute. It's missing.com. The Princess of Suburbia.com/mentoring programs. Thank you. Programs. All right. And there are other mentors out there too. If you feel that those other mentors can do the job, then be it. But either way, find yourself a mentor. Don't waste your energy trying to figure things out yourself. That's what the mentors are there for. Jotu is a mentor here. He's a mentor here. He has incredible programs. We have Ask Mama Louise, myself. We have Tony. There are so many. You're surrounded by so many mentors, people. And so you need to make your decision. You need to make a decision and you need to move forward. So I'm not going to keep you any long. If we have no other questions, thank you all so much for just joining me. This has been awesome. This has been great. Thank you so much. I really love you guys. I thank you for being a part of this. If there are no other questions, we will call this. Let's see now. Are there any other questions? Any questions? Great event. Oh my God. Beam is still on. Hey, Beam. Hey, my dear. That's my manager. Hey, Beam. Hey, Beam. This was really good. Oh, thank you, Naya. Thank you so much. So next Thursday, I forgot to say this. Next Thursday, today we talked about the prefix, which is what is the number one problem. So next Thursday, we are going to talk about from negative to positive. From negative to positive. All right. So that's what we're going to talk about. Oh, thank you so much. From negative to positive. The way you choose to write your story will determine your outcome. Write with intention and curiosity, because curiosity is the seat of innovation and purpose discovery. So that's what we're going to talk on next Thursday. The way we choose to write your story determine your outcome. Write with intention and curiosity, because curiosity is the seat of innovation and purpose discovery. So from negative to positive. So yeah, next Thursday from negative to positive. Awesome. Thank you so much for joining up. Thank you so much. Now, is somebody going to tell me how to stop this from recording? I know. Sounds good, right? Please, everybody, plug this date, this time on your computer. Put it on your calendar for next Thursday, the same time. We're going to be here, just in case you don't get any notification from me. Just come on in. All right? So, Maxine, did Maxine just sleep? How do I stop this from recording? I thought I'm ready to get it cracking. Amen. Well, Naya, send me an email, okay? Send me an email. I'll go to that. Looking forward to it. Okay, cool. All right. Thank you. Wait a minute now. Did Maxine just ditch us?
Yeah.
Marla?
I'm trying to come back.
Oh, you're back. Okay. Oh, you did. Well, I think I saw something. All right, so do me a favor, Naya. Go to theprincessofsuburbia.com/mentoring programs and put in for your assessment. All right, Naya, do that. Go to theprincessofsuburbia.com/mentoring programs and then just click on assessment. Do the assessment first. And then once you are in me for the assessment, then we will take it from there. Okay? So thank you so much. It's been fun. Now, Marcin, are you going to tell me how to stop this recording? Okay, so Maxine, are you going to tell me how to stop the recording?
I'm trying to figure it out myself.
Good night, my dear.
Just turn your phone off, I think.
I'm not on the phone.